going to score!
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Open Book. I am Eli Berkovits here with Zach Jacobson, covering all the news around the Packers, and we have finally made it, about 24 hours away from the first football game of the year. I had my doubts we'd make it this far, but we're here. So, Zach, how you feeling 24 hours out from our first football game?
I was one of the guys that was like, it would be so terrible if we allowed football to happen this year, with COVID and all this, and the pandemic, and it would just be so unsafe and irresponsible of the owners to allow this to happen. Now I'm going to just quietly watch tomorrow's game and quietly watch the Packers on Sunday, just quietly bask in it.
Yeah, I think you'll take it at this point. I mean, I think I saw yesterday another list of, thousands of players tested, only one positive. So the NFL is doing a surprisingly very good job at keeping this under control. So I'm really happy about that, obviously. But yeah, this is our first show since roster cut down day, so there's a lot to discuss about that. And of course, we have week 1 coming up, and the biggest news of today has to be Danielle Hunter getting put on IR, going to miss week 1 against the Packers. He's one of the league's best pass rushers on the edge. So how much of a difference do you think that makes on Sunday for the Packers not having to face him?
That's huge because we don't even know who the Packers are going to play at right tackle, with Billy Turner sidelined. And the thing is with Hunter, he's so dynamic and versatile. You can line him up on the left side, line him up on the right side, and the Vikings can just let him go in just a variety of different ways. Now the Packers, that's one less headache for them to worry about. Now it's Ngakoue that they really need to focus on. So, that's still going to be an issue. But the thing is with him, I'll hold my horses there before we get into him. But as far as Hunter goes, yeah, it's a huge relief considering the Packers really don't know who they're going to line up at right tackle, or maybe they do. They're just not, they're not telling us. Yeah, they're not letting us know. They're letting us play the whole guessing game. Which, there are a few different combinations that, me, you, a lot of other different people are kind of throwing out there as to who they could line up, those different combinations.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have depth and versatility on the O-line, which is always helpful, especially when you're dealing with injuries. So we don't know who's going to be at right tackle, but obviously not having to go against Hunter is going to help a lot. And then you could just kind of focus on Ngakoue from there. But unfortunately, the Packers have some of their own injury news to deal with. Most importantly, Raven Green and Oren Burks were both limited to practice today. Both of those guys were slated to play somewhere in the middle of the field. And with Kamal Martin already on IR, their injuries are going to be, their presence is even more important. And we could be looking at Ty Summers playing a huge percentage of snaps if they both missed the game. So, I mean, how do you think they deal with, if either one of them misses this game? Do you think they they do have an open roster spot still, right?
They're at 52 right now. They filled the last 2 practice squad spots, so they still have that one spot open on the 53. But yeah, that linebacker position right now with Oren Burks, this is the thing with him, man. He is always dealing with some kind of injury. Ever since they took him in the 3rd round a few years ago, he's always kind of dealing with some kind of ailment that's just holding him back from getting snaps, and it's preventing him from finding a role in this defense. And it's totally handicapping his progression as a player. So it helps that they got Raven Green back in practice today. So the fact that he's finally, going to be hopefully playing this Sunday, he's getting back, he's finding a spot in this defense now as that hybrid linebacker now who's going to come down and play in the box next to Christian Kirksey. That's huge, and that's something that we definitely shouldn't underplay. So, but as long as Ty Summers isn't seeing snaps, I do not know what to expect with Ty Summers. So if he's getting thrown out there, as he's a special teams guy as far as we know right now. So if he's out on the field on defense, then I think the Packers are in a very bad position.
Yeah, especially against the Vikings and dealing with Dalvin Cook.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the run game is going to be big. We saw last year Cook, even if it was just that one run, it changed the game. And an 80-yard run right up the middle for a touchdown. That's something we can't have happen this, week one here. But our first question coming in from our regular Nitsuj pulling through once again. Unless the deal is incredibly prudent, I think no to extending Jones over Bakhtiari. I understand that. I mean, there's definitely a lot of opinions about Jones. I mean, so the news is Aaron Jones said in an interview that his agent and the Packers have been talking, and it seems like they're getting somewhere on a deal. So I guess, I would agree with Nitsuj. You would have to prioritize Bakhtiari over Jones, but do you see it as one or the other? Because I personally don't. I think Bakhtiari is a priority regardless of whether or not they get Jones back.
I think no matter what, they're gonna get a deal with Bakhtiari done. I think we all know that everybody knows that your starting left tackle, your blindside protector of your 36-year-old quarterback, that's priority. That is numero uno right there. You want to lock that guy up for the foreseeable future, take care of him, obviously before a running back. So I think, that goes without saying. I think it's just a matter of, it comes down to the financial details, and whatever Russ Ball and whatever the agent want to agree with. It's going to be, it's going to be whatever kind of works with the team's cap at that moment. Like right now, the Packers, they're in a situation where they could probably take care of Aaron Jones and hope down the road, maybe a couple transactions clear, maybe certain things happen on the roster where they're able to take advantage of the way their salary cap is down the road and then take care of David Bakhtiari. Because realistically and historically, the Packers have never been in a situation where they're in just such a bad situation where with their salary cap. They've never been below the cap. They've never been in just such a bad financial dilemma where they can't lock up a certain player, or they pretty much have their hands tied behind their back. So I think no matter what down the road, they're going to get an extension done with Bakhtiari. So it's really not so much prioritizing one over the other. It's just a matter of kind of which one happens first.
Yeah. So after what Jones said, it seems like there's definitely some amount of steam going towards this contract. Do you think they could maybe make a deal before the season starts?
I don't think so. No, I think we're 4 days out. I think, and plus, with the whole pandemic happening, I think these things, they're going to take probably way more longer than usual. I think if things were under normal circumstances, then they probably would have had it taken care of by now.
I just think, it's rare you see in middle of the season, extensions, at least big extensions, bigger players. So we'll see if they get it done before. Maybe they want to see if he has another big year and can stay healthy, which is obviously a big thing for Jones after missing time in his first 2 years. So I guess we'll see about Jones if he gets that deal done soon. But let's talk a bit about the cut down day, because that was obviously a big day and definitely some surprises. I think we can agree the biggest surprise has to be Malik Taylor getting that fifth wide receiver spot, making the roster. I don't think anyone saw that happening. I know I didn't. Any idea of what maybe was behind that decision, what they saw in Taylor over Kumaro and Begelton and Turner?
Before we get into that, do you know how to tweet out the Periscope link on Twitter? Because I don't think it got tweeted out.
Oh, yeah, I think I should be able to, yeah.
Yeah, because that explains the...
Yeah.
Okay, there she
is. I got it, yeah. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, as far as Malik Taylor, he had a great camp. And, it's something that we've talked about with Matt LaFleur before on the show. He values guys who, when you show up and you play and you contribute and you take care of business in the way that Malik Taylor has apparently done in camp. I'm trying so hard not to confuse him with Malik Turner right now.
I keep doing it also, yeah.
Yeah, like sweating. Yeah, when you show up and you take care of business the way Malik Taylor has in camp, you're gonna reap the rewards, and that's showing with Malik Taylor. And he's been around the building for a while. I'm pretty sure he was around last year, and he ended up on the practice squad. They signed him to a futures contract at the beginning of the year, I believe. So they clearly like that upside, and that last spot on the roster, that the bottom of the depth chart right there, that spot is destined for somebody with upside. You know what Jake Kumaro is. Reggie Begelton, good enough for the practice squad, maybe not refined enough yet for the 53-man roster, but Malik Taylor, he's taken his bumps, he's earned his reps. I think that's somebody that you can definitely kind of, mold, somebody on the bottom of the depth chart there. And it's crazy because you and I, we were talking all this time about Jake Kumaro, Reggie Begelton, who's going to get that last roster spot. And
literally the last guy any of us saw, I mean, at least personally, anyone saw making it. It was really surprising, that's for sure. So, I mean, but I agree with you, though, about, let's say, for sure, Kumaro. Like you said, it's about upside, and we kind of know what Kumaro is. Yes, he's had some explosive plays, but he's not building on things. He hasn't really been growing a ton in the offense. So I'm fine with keeping Taylor. People on Twitter were crying about it, but it's like it's the fifth wide receiver. Barring injury, that person's probably not playing a ton anyway. Might as well see what they have in Taylor. So I don't mind that move.
Exactly.
And this is something I've been seeing on Twitter coming in from Aaron, but a lot of people, everyone always likes to know who's going to score the first touchdown of the season. So, I mean, it's easy to say Aaron Jones because they're just going to go and give him the ball. But I'm going to go with a bit of outside the box. I'm going to go with the tight end. I'm going to go with Jay Sternberger to score the first touchdown of the season for the Packers. Little play action, 12 personnel. It's going to be great. It's going to be exactly what LaFleur dreams about at night. So I have Sternberger scoring our first touchdown. How about you?
I was scared. When you said tight end, I thought you were going to take my guy.
So you're going. I know you're going with them.
All right, who am I going with?
Going with Mr. Tanyan is what I'm going to have to assume.
Nope.
Ooh.
Mercedes Lewis, big dog.
Big dog.
Of the season. Yep. Aaron Rodgers to Mercedes Lewis. Yeah, I don't really have an explanation. That's just my pick.
Look, we got an oddball pick. Alex is happy about it. And look, I would love to see Mercedes Lewis grab another touchdown from Rodgers. I mean, he's only got one so far. But, yeah, it'll be Rodgers' second touchdown pass to a first-round pick in his career. So I'll be looking forward to that.
I remember when that was all over social media. Like, oh, he's never played with a first-round pick. Oh, my God.
I didn't even realize when it happened. Then I saw it on Twitter and realized just kind of how sad that was. But, look, I'm not complaining. The Packers have done pretty damn well with receivers in the second and third rounds. So I think we're okay there. But just out of curiosity, because I've been trying to go look through free agents and the practice squad, who do you think could end up getting this last roster spot? It's like not many teams just have an open roster spot for a couple days in a row leading up to the season. I thought it could have been Tremont, but then they brought in Perry Nickerson yesterday, who is coming in from the Jets. So another corner doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. How do you think they go with that last roster spot?
I mean, a huge part of me wants it to be Snacks Harrison.
Yep, that would be a great choice.
Yeah, that would be like ideal. That would be, especially when he said, they reached out to him. He didn't specify when. And again, that is to clarify Ross Uglam's report from Packer Report.
Yeah,
Ross Uglam of Packer Report.
Yeah, so, Packer Report did a great job of reporting that a while ago. Yeah.
Shameless advertisement.
Yeah.
But yeah, when there's that mutual interest, it kind of gets your hopes up a little bit. And when you look at what the Packers have done on the defensive line this offseason, which is essentially nothing, it makes sense. He can still play. That's a huge body to just plug up the interior, help stop the run, which was a huge weakness for the Packers in the NFC title game. I don't know how many times that needs to be said, but we were 4 days away from the season opener, and it's still being talked about. But yeah, either him or I know the Packers just signed him to the practice squad today, but I would love to see Robert Foster get called up because that is a speedy, quick guy that would.
Yeah, I was really excited about him being signed. And I know a ton of people were just overlooking it, but I think he's exactly the kind of guy that works for this Packers offense. Really fast, explosive. I went back and watched basically any game he's made any kind of impact in. And he's really impressive. And he's impressive with the ball in his hands. Riley wants Zach to know that he's looking cute today. So not much of a question, more of a statement, but a good statement there by Riley. But one thing I think we're on the same page on, and maybe this could be the last man on the roster, Deion Buchanan. I saw you wrote an article about him yesterday. I'm obvious. I'm also I saw that he was released and I was on it. I'd be very happy for them to at the very least bring him in for a workout. So do you think that's a realistic option, Deion Buchanan?
Absolutely not. Do you?
Realistically, no. I mean, I feel like he's been also available multiple times where they could have brought him in and they haven't. But it just feels like they get to do something to the middle of that defense. Snacks is obviously an option, but I am curious. I mean, if they reached out to him and it didn't come to anything, I mean, I guess plenty of teams reached out to him, but 4 days before the season, I mean, what could he be waiting for exactly? It's a bit late.
See, I wrote that story last October, so 11 months ago.
Yeah, so you've been wanting him for a while.
Yeah, I've been following him for a good while now, and something that our coworker here at Game On Wisconsin, Dave, he seems to have something misconstrued. He was only released once in 2019.
Yeah.
So he was cut once in 2019, not 3 times or 2 times. He was cut once. His contract expired with the Cardinals last spring. So yeah, it wasn't like, he was just some charity case or some big issue to deal with. Nobody wanted him. He was, he's still a talented player. He's a former first round pick, so he has that pedigree.
Yeah.
And he does the same things, like I said in the tweet. He does the same thing Raven Green does, the same things Ibrahim Campbell did last year and in 2018 in those 3 games where he really came in and stood out as that hybrid linebacker. And we know Mike Pettin loves versatile defensive backs. There's nothing wrong with really loading up at that spot, especially with Raven Green, who missed all of last season after 2 games with that ankle injury. So, and he was injured in training camp. So it's not like he's not the shining picture of health. It doesn't help to load up at a position like that and get somebody who can kind of come in and maybe, provide you some relief there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he's at the very least worth a look. They need help with the run defense, but I mean, this obviously will never happen. And I mean, I personally, I don't even think Antonio Brown ends up back in the NFL.
Get this kid out of here.
Yeah, I don't see Antonio Brown being on any roster anytime soon. But yeah, so the cutdown days, I mean, what were your other biggest takeaways from cutdown day that maybe, just that says something about this roster or how the coaching staff is trying to go with this team?
Well, it didn't really speak so much about the direction, but flipping to their corners for a minute, I was really surprised that your guy, Stanford Samuels, didn't make it.
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get your reaction on that because it seemed like he had a really good camp, or he had a really good start to camp, and then he kind of went silent a little bit. But I mean, at a position like that, where you don't really have much lower end depth right there. I mean, that just seems like a no-brainer that you want to stack the bottom of the roster right there. Kind of the same thing with the receiver position. When you get Malik Taylor in there, that last spot there is kind of like a developmental spot.
Not necessarily someone you're going to rely on every week, but you get the chance to see what they have, and they're on the roster and they're playing. And I really did think Samuel would be probably the last corner on the roster. It ended up being Ento who got the spot, but then he got put on IR, and then they brought in Nickerson. So that was surprising. I thought Samuel could have got the last spot. I thought once they put Ento on IR, we could have had Tremont come in, and it just would have made sense, kind of like what we talked about a few weeks ago once they cut down, made some room, and brought in Tremont. But I just don't see that happening anymore after bringing in Nickerson. And now you have one more roster spot, and I just doubt they bring in another corner. So Samuels, I mean, he made it to the practice squad. I think he's definitely someone who's a candidate to be upgraded from the practice squad. If they ever need it, he would probably be the next one up. But, yeah, I definitely thought he would have made the 53-man roster. I guess my consolation prize is that Yash Nijman and Randy Ramsey made it, who were both 2 guys I was riding with all offseason. And I'm really happy they both made the roster. I think Nijman is really underrated and was really, really good in college. And Ramsey, I just saw practice last year, and he was literally the largest person I've ever seen in my life. So I was like, this guy at some point is going to make the roster. I even had in my drafts on Twitter from like 6 months ago, a random tweet I was putting together that Randy Ramsey's going to make the roster. And then I was like, this is ridiculous. I better not tweet this. And then, of course, he made the roster. But, yeah, I'm excited about him. And
that's what I was going to mention next.
Starting center job if Lindsey walks. Oh, Hansen. I read that as Harrison as snacks. So yeah, I read that Hansen didn't have a very impressive camp, so that's why I wasn't overly surprised that he was cut. Like I didn't have him on my 53 because honestly, I mean, I didn't get to see him that much, even with my great view from practice that one day I had. But what I read between all of our great Packer reporters, didn't seem like he was that good. So I wasn't overly surprised. But how do you see them dealing with center behind Lindsley?
Well, as far as Hansen, you're taking a risk by putting him on the practice squad because at that point, I mean, this guy is supposed to be, as far as we know, that's supposed to be the guy that takes over for Lindsley. Assuming you let his contract expire and that's your heir at center, pretty much. Someone could just come in and swoop him off the practice squad, sign him to a deal, sign him to their 53-man roster. So you're definitely taking a risk, but if Lindsley goes down, then you have Lucas Patrick who can definitely come in. He did that, I believe, in Dallas last year. He came in and played 50-plus snaps, I think, and he did so pretty well. He came in, stepped in, and and he's done that multiple times throughout his career. He's a really reliable backup. Aaron Rodgers loves him, and the great thing about him is not only is he going to be a backup at center, he's listed on the depth chart right now, albeit it's unofficial.
Yeah.
Unofficial depth chart. He's listed as a backup there. He's listed as a backup, I believe, at both interior guard positions. I'm not entirely sure. I know it's one of them, but it's possibly
both. Yeah.
Yeah, his name is cluttered in there somewhere multiple times.
He's all over that depth chart page.
Which is really a huge testament to the versatility that he brings just to that whole offensive line. So, and that shows you why the Packers gave him that contract extension. So, yeah, he's definitely just a huge help there. I think if Lindsley were to go down, that's the guy who steps in.
I mean, real quick before we answer this question from Next Level Pack, do you think, Elton Jenkins played center in college. I mean, it wouldn't be the craziest thing if when Lindsley walks, they slide Elton over if they feel more confident in a different guard at Jenkins' spot. Do you think that's a possibility, or they want to keep Jenkins where he is how good he's been?
He's right.
It's been quarantine. Not all of us have these opportunities, okay? I'm stuck inside, Tank, but you're definitely not wrong.
Yeah, come on, man. We're quarantined. Half my state is on fire. Give me
dealing with fires. If he goes out, he's going to be burnt to a crisp, and then it will not look like a tan. So
yeah, cut up some slack here. No, but that definitely wouldn't be the craziest thing because it's up there as in the realm of possibility. I personally wouldn't do it. I'm a huge proponent of keeping Elton Jenkins where he is at left guard, considering as a rookie he was pretty much impenetrable, and I wouldn't want to disrupt that whole development process. I wouldn't, I wouldn't want to try and fix something that isn't broken. I want to keep him just in that spot.
I think if they could, they would keep him there. But if they got desperate, at least they know they have the option of sliding him over.
Right,
but
of course.
If they could,
it helps to know that.
Yeah, keeping him there would be best. But Next Level Pack, great Twitter page. You guys should all follow. Who should start right tackle week 1? So I guess we could at this point assume Lane Taylor's going to be at guard for week 1. So Jenkins, he's not going to be at right. So it's really, it has to be Wagner at this point, hoping that he's healthy because Turner is looking like he's going to miss week 1. I know Wagner's been dealing with injury, but it looks like he wasn't on the injury report today, right? Or at least he wasn't limited. I believe he was at practice, right?
Jenkins?
Wagner, right? He wasn't on the injury
Rick
report.
Wagner, no, he wasn't on the injury report.
Yeah, so I would expect Wagner to start week 1 at right tackle, and then I don't know. I think if it's good, they might just keep Turner as depth. What do you think? You think when Turner comes back, he automatically gets a job, or he could be kept on the bench if they start out solid?
That's where it can get really interesting. Before I answer that, next level pack, I want to at least give him a little shout out here. He's a young writer. He's just kind of getting started into this gig. So if anybody wants to read his stuff, he writes for over at Pack to the Future. So
Yeah,
give him a little shout out there. He's a good friend.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, see, when Billy Turner does come back, it really depends on however his replacement is playing at that point. You know, because if they give Rick Wagner the reins in week 1 and he's showing out, he's kind of like he's holding down the fort right there on anchoring that side of the line, then I don't think you want to disrupt that. You know, I don't think you want to kind of break that. At the very least, you'll have Billy Turner as relief, whether it's at right guard or at right tackle. He'll be fluent at both positions. As far as week 1 goes, I think that's where it really depends, because with Rick Wagner, I know he missed a huge chunk of camp with the injury, but the thing is, he has 7 years worth of experience under his belt.
Yeah,
the Packers might be willing to give him a little more leniency as opposed to a young player who missed a huge chunk of camp, and he's being forced to step into that role. But he's had time to master the mental aspect of this offense and potentially step in week 1 if the Packers are comfortable doing that, obviously. But my gut tells me Rick Wagner is a starter for week 1. Next resort, if it's not Wagner, I think they slide Lane Taylor out to right tackle. He has left tackle experience. You slide Lane Taylor out to right tackle, and you plug in the right guard position with Lucas Patrick, who we just talked about with versatile. So
yeah, that could definitely be an option. That's what's great about the Packers O-line right now, is that they have so much versatility. There's basically no one who's pegged into one position. Almost everyone can play multiple spots on the line. So whoever it ends up being, and then whenever Turner comes back, they're going to have great depth and versatility at that position. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable about our offensive line as long as Turner comes back at some point, even if he's just depth. But Kyle wants to know real quick if you're ever going to wear a shirt with sleeves, Zach. I mean, I guess only you can answer that question.
Kyle, I did last week. I wore a button up. I mean,
yeah, come on. Maybe if you were watching last week, you would know all about Zach's shirt collections. But
get him, Eli. See, he's so fixated on his new healthy lifestyle that he doesn't watch our show anymore. Yeah.
It's like unbelievable. See, that's why today, in honor of week 1, I decided to sport my Darnell Savage jersey, getting ready for game 1. And I mean, speaking of week 1, so I mean, I guess we got to preview this game to some extent, and maybe you give me like an X factor on offense and defense that you think is going to be key to kind of getting this win in week 1 in Minnesota.
On offense.
Yeah, I guess maybe do one on offense, one on defense if you have.
If I could do one on offense, it's going to be Davante Adams. Just because the Vikings, no Xavier Rhodes, no Trey Waynes.
Yeah.
It's going to be Mike Hughes and who's the other one? Cam Dantzler? Or is it Holton? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Davante Adams going up against these young corners, it's an opportunity for him to kind of really establish himself, kind of welcome the rookie to the NFC North, welcome to playing the Packers twice a year, and welcome to having to deal with me twice a year, Davante Adams. And, just with the Packers kind of being a little rocky at receiver right now, he might need to kind of shoulder the load right out of the gate, so while the rest of these guys get their sea legs under them, so yeah, Davante Adams. Janelle, please. This isn't the place for the brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tarts praise, okay?
Yeah, in brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tarts, I mean, as delicious as they sound, I think Davante is more focused on week 1 than his Pop-Tarts, but you never know.
Yeah, maybe there's a chance. Yeah, Davante Adams offensively, and on defense, the Vikings offensive line is just disgusting. I can't find a word for it, so I'm going to use the most generic word in the book right now. Disgusting. It's putrid. It's abhorrent. It's just downright miserable.
Yeah.
So my X factor, Kenny Clark. take care of that interior. Do your best to just stuff Dalvin Cook because he missed the second meeting. Second meeting. Did I say weeding?
Yeah, he said weeding. Yeah, California boy, unbelievable. Yeah.
Oh my god, give me a break. I hope nobody cuts that clip up. Yeah, he missed a second meeting at US Bank Stadium last year. The first one, though, I don't want to say he had a good game because a huge chunk of his yards came off of that big run, which Darnell Savage missed an open field tackle, 70-something yard run. But yeah, Kenny Clark, if he has a good day and he clogs the middle, that's going to force Dalvin Cook. God, I can't talk. Outside, Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, they're going to have a day containing the edges.
Yeah.
It all works in unison.
Yeah, so I have similar feeling. I think Kirksey or whoever's going to be that second line of defense, exactly like Tank said, Amos coming up, or if it's Savage or Green or whoever ends up being that guy at the second level is going to be important because as great as Kenny Clark is, we can't expect to contain Cook the entire day. The most important thing is not to let a 7-yard run turn into a 75-yard run and making that tackle when it matters. So I'm with you on that. Defensively, it's going to be about the middle and stopping Cook. And yeah, like next level pack, it really was that one big run that hurt us. But that one big run is a 75-yard touchdown run you don't want to give up. So
that can make a difference.
Yeah, it could definitely make a big difference in any game. And then offensively, I mean, Devontae Adams obviously is going to have to have a big game, and I think he should have a big game against young cornerbacks. But it's going to be the second and third guys that I'm looking out for. Who's going to really separate themselves from the pack and show that they're wide receiver too? Is it going to be Lazard? Is MVS going to actually live up to all the praise he's getting from Rodgers and Devontae? So it's going to be a tight end or wide receiver too for me. Whoever ends up really stepping up the most, that's just the contribution I think is going to help the Packers the most. And I would guess that's going to be Lazard, at least for week one. I just think the trust will be there the quickest with Rodgers. And they need someone to step up because they can't just expect Devontae to catch 10 balls a game for 100-plus yards and a touchdown. So I'm really hoping Lazard or one of the tight ends or MVS, someone steps out and makes a play. Cook is washed anyway. Well, I don't know if he's washed. He's definitely injury prone, but I don't know if I would say wash. And then, yeah, Vikings secondary without Jerry Gray is going to be a lot worse. And then you add the fact that they're losing talent. Yeah, this could be a huge Devontae Adams game, which I'm definitely hoping for. And what any final thoughts for this game? Any final things you're looking out for that you think the Packers need to do to get the win?
Well, to your point about the receivers that you just mentioned, if Alan Lazard or Marcus Valdes-Scantling or whoever's out there, whoever's one of their top three guys out there, if they can't take advantage of this really bad secondary that they're facing, then with the exception of Harrison Smith, of course, then I think it's really time to maybe start worrying about the outlook of these receivers, because there is no better time to step up and kind of show that, hey, the Packers made a good decision to not draft a receiver. They have all the help they need right now. We're here. This is all, this is their time. This is their chance. I don't know if there's going to be a better opportunity at any point this season, unless they face the Vikings again, of course. But yeah, this is a big chance for them. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, they're facing a young, inexperienced secondary. So anyone on the passing offense that's going to make an impact, week one is your time. And let's close it out with some score predictions for week one. I'll kick us off. I think it's going to be pretty low scoring. I think most games are going to be low scoring. I just think teams are going to be a little bit sloppy. I'm feeling something similar to last year. I would go with 21-17 Packers.
I'm gonna roll with.
You better win for a lot of reasons, but bragging rights is definitely one of them. Yeah.
She lives in Minnesota, so especially her.
Oh yeah, she's gonna need it, or else she's gonna have a rough week. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, my score prediction, I'm going to say 24-16, Green Bay.
All right, so we both have the Packers with the win, and yeah, Danielle Hunter will not be playing. The Packers will be missing a couple pieces as well, but I think the Hunter news is definitely the biggest. And yeah, next time we see you, we should be 1-0 and into the football season. So yeah, that alone is enough reason to celebrate. Everyone enjoy tomorrow night's opening kickoff for the NFL. And before we head out, make sure to give Zach a follow on Twitter at it's Zachariah J. And you can find me on Twitter at bookofeli_NFL. Obviously, give the show a follow at Game On Wisconsin on Twitter. And yeah, we will see you all next week for week 2 preview. Thank you, guys. Good night.
Surveying, fires, that's caught.